This is from CNN Politics. I've been forgetting to announce the names of the articles, so we're going to make sure that I do that. All right, yeah. But you guys can all see them if you're watching. I'm not plagiarizing. I'm not pretending I made this story up. Trump administration holds Situation Room meeting over a House effort to force release of all of DOJ's Epstein files. The top Trump administration officials met Wednesday with a key GOP lawmaker about an effort in the U.S. House to force a vote on releasing Justice Department case files related to Jeffrey Epstein, according to multiple sources familiar with the meeting. White House Press Secretary Karen Leavitt acknowledged that meeting later Wednesday when asked about reporting that administration officials were huddling up with GOP Rep. Lord Boebert. Doesn't that show the level of transparency when we are willing to sit down with members of Congress and address their concerns, she told reporters at press briefings. Maybe not enough transparency, maybe not the exact kind of transparency we've all been looking for. I'm going to turn it over to the rest of the panel. How do you guys feel about this? Is this what we voted for?
Well, I'll start off and tell you that headline is the type of thing that we always find out 3 months later never actually happened.
Fair enough.
So I'll just throw that bone Trump's way.
In what reference?
Just, Situation Room meeting on Epstein. I mean, sounds like maybe there's a Situation Room meeting where Epstein's name got mentioned, but that's usually the type of thing that, did they actually, okay, guys, let's go talk about this right now in the Situation Room.
So Micah, what were you saying? Micah
If I were to
brought up.
steelman the situation, right? For a steelman, I would hope that the meeting that was where Epstein was discussed was the administration saying, okay, we need to get all of the information we have out there, get in front of this, because that's what an adult and responsible administration would do. Because as long as there are questions, and there have been questions since before he took the oath of office in his second term, as long as there are questions, there are going to be people that are going to say,
we got a great sponsor. It is Beam Dream. Head over to shopbeam.com, my friends, /Tim Pool, and pick up your Beam Dream, your nighttime sleep blend. Helps you sleep better. I drink this stuff every night. I swear by it. It is delicious. It's got melatonin, magnesium, L-theanine. It is fantastic. And right now, you will get their early Black Friday sale, 50% off. I really do think it's fantastic. And this is legit. I do drink it every single night. My sleep improved. I didn't even know it could improve. And now for the past several months, I've been having consistently good sleep. And you guys know that I recently had a baby. So that's pretty impressive. Good stuff, Beam Dream.
this is bad, blah, blah, blah. This is going on. And there's all sorts of accusations being thrown around. The only option the administration has is getting as much information out as exists. There can be no more redactions. There can be no more trying to tell people that the topic doesn't matter. There can be no more of that. He has to release all of the information. And again, this is just a steel man. Hopefully that's what they were talking about. If not, this is going to continue to haunt him, and people are going to continue to make accusations. And at this point, honestly, it is kind of a situation where, because they've taken so long and because they've tried to deflect and stuff, there are people out there that are never going to believe whatever comes out. When they say, okay, all of the information, so say all of the information, just for sake of argument, say all the information is put out, there will be a group of people that are going to say, there's more. Because there's no, if they don't hear what they want to hear, they're going to say he didn't release it all. There's blah, blah, this is blah, blah. And it's going to haunt him the rest of his presidency.
That's the nature of these types of political attacks now, in a lot of ways, not an attack on him, but in general, when it comes to information needing to be released and there's a hesitancy to do so, what you'll find is that most people in these spaces, they're waiting until they hear the exact thing that they want to hear about that topic. And if they don't do it, they're just going to keep saying that you're putting it off. But we've had so much corruption in government for so long. It's like when people talk about not trusting the media anymore. There are times that the media actually tells you the truth, but nobody wants to believe it anymore because they've lied so many times. It's like you could have gone 6 months without hearing a lie, and then you see that thing on the BBC about lying about Trump in a documentary, and you're like, you're just doing it all over again. Yeah. You can't stop yourselves. You can't help yourselves. And there's no way for the media to regain their credibility. And it's fast becoming true that Trump is losing any chance he has of, returning his credibility with issues like this. And that's not even to say, like they were saying, they leaked, like Democrats leaked 3 pages, right? And they crossed out Virginia Guthrie's name or whatever. And so the whole point was to tie him to it without actually, putting the name out there. If they actually wanted transparency, they wouldn't have blacked out the name at all, but they knew it didn't fit their narrative. It's just lying all around because that's what politicians do. And by lying, I mean half-truths, which is the worst type.
Yeah.
So was I hallucinating earlier, or was there a story circulating about Trump calling the Epstein files a hoax? Or was he saying that what is being claimed about his involvement is a hoax?
Well, that depends on who you ask.
Yeah,
It depends on what their opinion is on him.
Yeah. If you ask people that are aligned with Trump, they're going to say that Trump wasn't saying the Epstein files themselves are a hoax. It's the way that the Democrats are framing it that's a hoax. If you ask Democrats, they're going to say that Trump is saying that the whole thing is a hoax and he's trying to lie to you. So it all depends on who you ask and what's convenient for the argument that they're trying to make.
Yeah, well, and so this is just me musing, as they say, but why wouldn't Trump just say that these files were destroyed by the last administration and there's no way we can release it? Because this is one argument you're hearing from a lot of people. Well, the reason Trump doesn't have the files is because they're destroyed. I'm sympathetic to that. I think that's probably true. But then why wouldn't he just say that?
Yeah.
This confuses me.
Meaning that you think that it would just come across as like I said earlier, if people don't hear what they want to hear, they're going to assume that he's lying. So if he says they don't exist anymore, people are going to be like, the government redundancy, that doesn't sound plausible to me.
And if they're not destroyed, that's an easy one to disprove. And if he gets caught with his pants down.
Oh, so you think it's possible that they actually weren't destroyed? Okay, that's fair.
I think they were backed up and given to people and are being used as blackmail right now by Trump's administration and others to go after the deep state and prevent them from killing him, basically.
It's not the 60s.
Really?
Yeah.
It's not the 60s anymore. Like destroying something is not putting the files themselves through a shredder. If they existed, then there are still files on computers somewhere. Like the idea that they can destroy them totally nowadays, I really
No, for sure, but they
maybe
can
it's
make them
possible, but
inaccessible.
I don't think that's realistic.
I think you're right that it would be nearly impossible to completely get rid of the files, especially with the interest that people have in them. But I do think it would be possible for them to make the files inaccessible to the administration.
And
that I could believe.
Well, he had that meeting with Ghislaine. Sorry about that.
Yeah, go ahead.
He met up with Ghislaine, Trump, or somebody did about 6 months ago at this point, and after a conversation, they moved Ghislaine to a minimum security prison, and she was like the ringleader of this Epstein operation. They moved her to a minimum security, and then a couple weeks later, they let some time go by, and then she said Trump did nothing untoward. So.
Well, Virginia Guthrie
and maybe
said the
in that
same
meeting,
thing.
wait, let me say this last thing. Maybe in that meeting, they got the keys from Ghislaine, the final piece to unlock the files so that they have them, and that's her reward as they put her in minimum security.
Virginia Guthrie said the same thing that Ghislaine said. Virginia Guthrie said that Trump had never done anything untoward, and there's also...
Which is why they blacked out her name in the file release.
Exactly. And also there was, I heard it today, someone talking about I think it was on the morning meeting, Mark Halpern was talking about it, that the argument that Trump made, or Epstein said that he spoke to Ghislaine, Trump spoke to Ghislaine, and knew about the young girls. And Trump told Ghislaine, you guys have to stop this.
Yes, that did come out in the files today. And it's one of those things, the interesting part about this is whenever we hear something new, it usually does not transpire that it was Trump actually doing anything untoward, which is what makes the whole, why not release such a puzzle. Because, these files today were clearly timed by the Democrats. The release was set up to impact this vote that the House is going to take, how they're going to handle the release of the files. And in these files, Trump is telling Ghislaine, hey, you need to not do this.
Yeah, one thing, he might have been working with the FBI. This has come up before in thought experiments, is that he was actually turning these dudes into the FBI and sided with the FBI.
I've heard, that he was like a secret agent man.
Yeah, and if he publicly came out with that now, how would that look?
And just as a matter of framing, all it takes is a headline that says Trump is in the files. It doesn't matter what is actually, in the actual documents themselves, because it ties it to him as guilt by association for people that don't want to look deeper into whatever they're doing. And he's already at a disadvantage right now because he's pissed off his base.
Yeah, and
Sorry to cuss right there, but he's with the H-1B stuff and the students from China, he's angering a lot of the people that would at least usually go to bat with a reasonable argument to the contrary for whatever people are coming at him with.
Yeah. So, and the idea that he is in the files, Again, this is something that what that means is going to depend on who you're talking to. If you're talking to someone in Trump world, in the files means that he's referenced, he's talked about in the files, etc. If you're talking to someone that doesn't like Donald Trump, in the files means he was videotaped having sex with a 6-year-old is what they're going to say.
If he was secret agent man and he worked with the FBI and started turning in these dudes that were trafficking 13, 14-year-old girls, and he came out and told everyone that, I feel like that would make him a superhero in the minds of most humans. Maybe the people that he
Most
turned
normal
in,
people, yeah, if that were true.
but then maybe the businessmen that he had turned in or gave information on would turn on him. Maybe they're some of his supporters. I don't know.
The media would still find a bad way to spin that.
Yep.
If that were to have happened, which I'm not
betrayed
saying.
his friend.
To me, listen, I would love if that were true. I would love if that was the case, that he was secret agent man and he was turning these people. That would be one of the most incredible stories ever. I would absolutely love it. I'm saying I'd have to see some evidence for that. I would need to see some evidence. That is something I want to have happen. That's something that I want to be the case, genuinely. But that's also why I got to say, show me some evidence. I just can't buy into it because it would be convenient based on my worldview. Yeah.
I hope he sees this show and he's like, I was secret agent, man.
I did it. I had my watch fired a laser.
It was 008, not 007.
What else could it be that they're not, I mean, it sounds like he's lying, that he's just blatantly, he's like trying to evaporate this thing that's obviously there.
Yeah, I don't get
my
it.
gut instinct from all of the information that I have is that Trump is in the files, as in like he's talked about because he was friends with Epstein, and Trump is running from Epstein and has been, and that's why he's saying, no, we're not friends. Who is he? Blah blah blah. We had a falling out. I used to be friends with him. He's made all of these statements to distance himself because he's referenced in the files and he knows that it looks bad. It doesn't matter that he's or it would not matter that he didn't do anything. The point that he has is, I don't want to be associated with it because I know this is bad. But but because he's done all this denial, it's only made it worse.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. There's also part of me that thinks that if he was in the files, we would have known by now. They looked into him so deeply. They investigated him so thoroughly.
He's the most investigated person in history.
I mean,
If they could have got him on that, they would have got him on that. Instead of some trumped up real estate nonsense.
Well, no, that's exactly right. I mean, we may talk about Arctic frost later, but they spent like thousands of agent man hours unturning every single rock, in every possible jurisdiction to get this guy on something. The idea that they would have this information and not use it is insane.
The craziest version of the story is they get into the files and somehow they find out that he actually did lie in his taxes.
He did.
I mean, he admitted to lying to on his taxes, right? He came right out and said that he told Hillary.
Don't they say he kicked Epstein, he banned him from Mar-a-Lago?
Yeah,
or
that's
something?
what I know from what I've heard is that Epstein, like Trump has these like young, 16, 17, 18-year-old women working at Mar-a-Lago, hot waitresses or whatever. And then Epstein comes down there and Mooch takes a bunch of them to go be his models. And then Trump was pissed. And then that was when their falling out happened. Wouldn't surprise me then if he was like, I'm going all out on this guy. I'm getting him busted. I'm going to take him to court or take him to the FBI. And
it's kind of a masterclass in not handling a story about your political career well, given the fact that he was able to avoid this in 2016 and 2020. And it just it seems like he's taken every wrong step when it comes to handling the situation. Yeah. And it's confirmation bias for the people that don't like him. If anybody's seen the tweet from, somebody will quote tweet Stephen King when he said the Epstein files are fake, and now he's saying release the Epstein files. Like, that's what you're dealing with, but you're never gonna convince those people anyway.
I think he described the Epstein files in his book It. Stephen King's a freaky guy.
Yeah.
Like for him to sit there and anyway, my point is I don't want to hear Stephen King moralize about anything.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. I have no idea why he's saying the things he's saying or taking the tone that he's taking. Again, I don't think he's in the files, but that's also why this is so perplexing to me. And it's not like I just don't think he's in the files because I love him so much and I couldn't believe it. It's because we would have known by now. They would have told us. It doesn't make sense. None of this makes sense.
That was like my point. It came up earlier because we were talking about Jimmy Kimmel talking about Trump and all of these things. I said the reason why nobody takes you seriously is because you've never had a nuanced opinion on the man. in any way, shape, or form. And I pulled up Clint Russell's tweet about the stuff that Trump has failed with recently. I said, if you're trying to tell me that I should take my opinions on Trump from, empty suit liberals in Hollywood, or somebody who was at least willing to hear him out in the past, had good things to say about him at one time, and now is saying you're chalking up loss after loss after loss, I'm going to take that guy's opinion with a lot more certainty than I am anybody from Hollywood. But the people Trump is playing to is that he's still expecting to win over people that he used to run with.
Well, I also heard the argument made when this initially reared its ugly head when Trump got elected and first really disappointed us on this issue. I heard people saying, well, maybe it's the case that too many powerful people were involved and society would collapse. Now, in my mind, if your society is going to collapse when pedophiles go to jail, your society should probably collapse, right?
So what is the argument? Is the argument that, they're the heads of every company? Like, there isn't some second in command that's going to just take over the company when that guy eventually goes down?
Yeah. Well, that's why we need all the H-1Bs, Brett.
Yes,
because
exactly.
There just are no competent Americans who aren't on the Epstein list.
Leslie,
and that's why he wants to bring all the H-1Bs in.
We're actually bringing them in to be CEOs. We're actually bringing them in to be CEOs, not programmers.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.